Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
And welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. Today's guest is Deb Fox. We're going to be talking about the voting process and over and under voting, which
Confusing.
I have no idea what that means. I'm glad Deb's coming on to tell us. It's July 1st. We made it halfway through the year.
And what a year.
And what a year. It's almost like, what? Hardly anything has happened.
I saw somebody post that said, I'm going to throw some candy outside, cook a turkey, and wrap a few presents and call it done.
That's it. So for everyone, happy July 1st. July 4th is coming up, the holiday. Today is Canada Day. So all you Canadians out there, happy Canada Day.
Isn't the border to Canada closed? So
It
you can't
is.
go there.
So it's harder to celebrate, but there, it's the Great White North.
You can try.
Yeah, okay. We have some local news and events, I think.
We do. Just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of the farm to family coupons that are coming out. They're $30 coupons. They're available from Sevka, and they're available to families that qualify for either, what's it called, CAP or Three Squares Vermont, or any of those type benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So they're $30 coupons that you can redeem at the Great Falls Farmers Market here in Bells Falls, which is every Friday afternoon from 4 to 7 at the Waypoint Center. Or the other local place you can redeem them is actually over at Pete's Stand in Walpole. Or no, actually was it Walpole or North Walpole?
Yeah, Anyway, I guess my question is, they're worth $30, but if you're eligible for the benefit, you get them for free, right?
Correct. Yes, thank you for clarifying. Yes, you get a $30 coupon, and it's $30 worth of fresh produce at the farmers market or Pete's Stand. And not only does it give you the recipient nice, fresh, locally grown produce, but it also really helps support the farmers.
Yeah, that's really good.
Call Elizabeth Cohen at Sevka. The number's 802-722-4575, extension 125. And for more information.
Okay, good. Another thing to remember is today is July 1st, and today the ban on one-use plastic bags goes into effect in Vermont. So, and I'm not sure how this plays out with the COVID-19 thing, because
well, I asked at Leasi's yesterday because I got into the store and I was like, oh my God, what day is it? Do I need my own bag? And they said that because I wondered about that, because I thought there was a ban previously, but then when COVID hit, you couldn't bring your own bag. I guess you can bring your own bag, but you have to pack it. They will not pack it for you.
Oh, okay.
I think that's
so
the
that's
difference. That's what I understand,
yes.
the compromise.
But they're not going to give you your own. They're not going to give you one use.
Nope, they're not going to give you a single use. Not at Leasi's anyway. I don't know about Shaw's, but Leasi's will not give you a single use plastic bag, but they will sell you for 10 cents a paper bag.
Oh, okay. Good information. I was trying to figure out
I didn't even know I knew that. I forgot about that until you mentioned it.
Good job. And the other thing law that's gone into effect today is you can no longer put food scraps in your garbage to go to the garbage recycling center. So you have to compost or arrange some way of
bringing it to the
composting place at the recycling center.
As I understand it, from times in the past when we've briefly talked to people, I think they have buckets that you can take, or maybe you bring your own bucket and just dump it. But I thought maybe they had like buckets that you can take. But don't quote me on that one, please.
Don't quote either of us on that. We're going to try to get to a more thing. We'd actually planned on doing a segment on this before, and then when the COVID-19 came along, sort of everybody that we were going to film, we couldn't film because we had the social distance. So we'll get back to you on that, but just know you can't put your food scraps in your garbage and expect to send, because they're gonna do searches, they're gonna have bag searches, gonna have
They
the
are not.
composting police out, composting cops, they're calling them. They may do
Now,
strip
now
searches.
Mike is just making stuff up.
You never know.
Do not quote him on those things either.
Okay, I think they may have canines trained to smell out the garbage.
Because you like to like
I
to
can do
poke
a whole
that bear.
rant on
You like to poke
assumptions.
that bear.
But I digress.
You digress. Let's go to Deb.
Let's go to Deb. Hi, Deb.
Hi, guys.
How you been?
I've been doing really well, thank you.
You have some interesting information because, and I'll do a little maybe background is that you
Okay.
were running for election this just about a month ago, and when the election results came out, we all saw these ticker tape sort of things that were, here are the vote counts, and on the top of it was over votes and under votes, and all sorts of numbers that I personally didn't understand, and
Right.
you have delved into this and are going to give us some word on what those things are, right?
So, the first thing I wanted to say is that thank you for all the support for running for trustee. It was a very close race. Very happy about that. And although I didn't get a position this year, this next year will give me time to get a little more involved in the local politics. So I'll be much more educated next year when I run again.
Oh, good.
So again, thank you everyone for your support. I got some great emails and text messages after that. So that was really nice. But yeah, what I didn't know about, and interestingly enough, I've talked to a lot of people about this since the election, and I don't think anyone I spoke with, but one person probably out of 25 or 30, knew what undervotes and overvotes were all about. So you're right, Mike, at the end of the election, all the ballots go in, they get tallied, and you end up with a kind of like a register tape for each category. So, for example, there were 2 positions open for village trustee. There were 7 people running. And on the ballot, right underneath the category of who you're choosing, it tells you how many people to choose. So there were 7 people running 2 positions. So when you went in with your ballot, you were supposed to vote for 2 people.
Mhm.
Now, a lot of people I talked to said, well, we only knew you and didn't know who else to check, so we only checked 1 person. That's considered an undervote. You have to at least select the number that they're asking for. If, for example, there were 3 people you knew under that category and you chose 3 people, that's an overvote. And they don't count at all. They get thrown out.
You're kidding me.
Really?
Wait, let's run that by me again. If
Yeah,
you,
okay.
well, if you overvote, I understand that would
Yeah.
be thrown out. But if you undervote, is that vote thrown out?
Undervote, not a valid ballot.
Oh,
Really?
now that's worthwhile knowing right there.
It is, because I'm going to guess a lot of people did
Not
that.
only for local elections, but I'm assuming, and again, I'm going to do a little more research on this, but I think anytime you go and vote in that capacity for whatever is up for grabs and who you're voting for, if you do an under or over, it's not counted at all.
Wow.
So that so you see that number. So I believe for the village trustees, I think there were a total of 30 something, 36. I kind of remember being under and over votes total.
Uh-huh.
So that could have been 36 potential votes for any of the candidates.
Right.
that
And like
they-
you said, it was
they-
relatively close, and the total vote count wasn't that high either. So 36 votes was a significant percentage of.
Right, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I saw that register tape, that's just not something I've seen before. Usually you're watching the election results on TV and whatnot. You really don't get a breakdown as to over and under votes. I was just not familiar with that term at all. So Pat Fowler and Charlie Hunter both piped up with information that was very helpful in understanding the basics of that. Now I've got to go back and really understand a little bit more about the state of Vermont law around that to see if there are any other components that would skew the numbers.
Right.
But I thought it was just good information, and after I spoke with a few people and realized that I wasn't the only one who didn't know about over and under voting, and how that counted toward the final count, I think it's really important to know. And that's why I wanted to come on today, just to just to throw that out there, and just to be aware that when you are voting, if you need to select two, you got to select two or your vote will not count.
See, I really seriously didn't know that. And I also remember a time past when I heard people talk about bullet voting.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I'm confused now, because I thought you could give, if there's just, is that only if there's two people running and you just vote for one?
No, I thought bullet voting, as I understood the definition of bullet voting, was there are three people running for a race, and you can vote for two of them. But if you only vote for one, that was called a bullet vote, and it didn't give anyone else any other votes. And actually, that was
Right.
considered a strategy that I heard people tell people, if you're for me, bullet vote, just vote for me, don't vote for
Just,
anyone else.
right.
So what you're saying is that that vote wouldn't count.
So, and that's where I need to do a little more research, because Charlie did a bullet vote, but it wasn't clear to me whether or not that bullet vote still counted or if that was considered an under vote.
Yeah, it would sound like it would be an undervote.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I guess it's
So,
the
I think
ultimate
there's a lot-
undervote. The ultimate undervote would be no, if you didn't pick anyone.
Right, yeah.
But that's an interesting thing. I'd like to hear some other people chime in on that, because I can remember,
Yeah,
I don't know how
Yeah,
many times
that's
I heard
why
about it.
because I can understand if you vote for three and you're only supposed to vote for two, then of course that would spoil,
Yeah,
that would
'cause you
spoil
don't
that
know who-
ballot. But it seems,
Yeah.
my understanding of the bullet is that if there's two people running and you don't like you only like one person, you don't really want to,
Yeah.
you don't really want to give another vote away, you just vote for that single person.
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got to get more of a clarification on that, but I think you're correct. When the other problem I ran into though on the bullet vote was that confusion as to, okay, you got your list of 7 people, and then you have an opportunity to write somebody in.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people were picking 2 and then still doing a
Oh,
write-in. Obviously, that's an overvote.
that would make
Yeah.
sense. But if you
Uh,
if you had one person and wrote somebody in, that would definitely be maybe
Right.
that's a
Yeah.
bullet
Right.
vote.
I don't know, it brings up an interesting topic of voter education.
Yeah.
And really, and maybe next time we're closer to an election, we should do like a show prior to the election and have this really well explained to people so that ballots don't get spoiled. And
Yeah, I was gonna have a copy of a ballot, that we could show, and you're right. I think the next time, as we get closer to the next local election, we can certainly get into a little bit more of that. There's a lot of information at the state level. I just didn't have a chance to get through it all. But I did think that the basic was pretty interesting. And again, I've just never seen a register tape. Usually you see the final numbers on TV, so that's what kind of prompted me to ask about it.
Yeah.
well, I think it's also the first time in a very, very long time that there's nobody running, there's one person running, or only 2,
Yeah.
so they're running unopposed, basically. And this time there was 7 people for 2 seats, and
Right.
we haven't had that in forever. So it
Which
definitely
I was
would.
great to see, the excitement and the people who are interested in getting involved. I mean, there's a friend of my daughter's in her late 20s who moved up here just before everything hit in New York City. So she's been here since, I think, the first week in March or so. And when I was talking to her about the village elections, and she was really excited about getting involved. So I hope that with that and her energy and some of the, younger, newer people in the area, we'll have maybe 7 people again to run and have a nice selection of folks who want to contribute to the community.
I hope you're right, because that it does make for more interest. It made for more conversation around what is actually happening, and because if nobody's being opposed, it's almost like nobody cares. But with you showing interest and everyone else showing interest, it really made a difference, and I think it was more.
Yeah, I do, and maybe next year we just start talking about it a little earlier, and getting people involved, and getting them to sign up for being a candidate. And again, there are time frames on all of this, so you just sitting around in your home wouldn't really know that. Oh yeah, I've got a week to be able to put my name in and run for an office locally. So, there's a whole campaign about, around that probably too, and just getting people to know that, wait, you got so many days before the actual election to get your name on the ballot, and, you can only do your signs a certain amount of time before election. You can only put them in certain areas, Actually, Jeff and I were talking about this, and it would have been interesting, and maybe an initiative that a group could get involved with. But, we signed our names up and, really didn't have all the requirements of what we needed to be aware of, like, having your sign so many feet away from a state highway. There are a bunch of different things involved with what you can and can't do when you're running for an office. And it would have been nice that when people got signed up, if the village would have maybe sent an acknowledgement saying, okay, well, this is where you can find the information and what you need to know about campaigning.
Yeah, that would be really good, like an orientation almost, like orientation to new candidates.
These are some things that you might need to be aware of, or if you'd like to dig into them, they'll give you information on the whole campaign process and what it's all about. So,
that's really good. Thank you for coming on. This is really educational.
Yeah, and again, I got some information late, but I will dive into that a little more, and I'd love to do an update, as we get closer to the next local election, anyway, at a minimum.
Yes.
And just make aware what to look for and what to do.
I was just gonna say, well, luckily, even though you maybe, it was sad that you didn't win the election, I believe that you just won the appointment of the feed political reporter.
I do believe you are going to be our ace political reporter.
All right.
So, there you have it.
You just that should get you the next election. I mean, I'm just saying. But I think I'm trying to figure out, because I see signs going up for state representative now. I saw Leslie Goldman has signs up, and then in the next week or so we're going to have Carolyn Partridge on, and we've had Kelly Tully on a few times, and so it seems like there's some interest brewing there too, where there wasn't, it used to be just the incumbents were in and they were in forever. It seems like there's, something's happening where there's things are bubbling, and
And you had asked me the last time I was on whether I'd be interested in coming and doing kind of snippets of the, what's really happening at the meeting, so people don't need to watch the whole village meeting if they don't want to, and maybe I can come in and just do highlights of the big discussion items.
Yes.
And
That'd be great.
keep that, again, kind of at a minimum where people can just come in and get their 15 minutes worth of a summary of what happened at the meeting, or things that they really need to be aware of.
Right,
Changing in the community. So I'd be happy to do that still.
Well, we're going to hold you to that, because I mean, I joke, but it's a really important thing. I mean, like you said, if there's a 2-hour meeting every 2 weeks, people aren't going to tune into that. But there are really important things that come up every once in a while, that if someone were to come on and say, oh, did people see this part of the meeting? Or did you know that next week there's a meeting coming, there's an item on the agenda that's really probably everyone is interested in?
No, I think that's, I know myself, last night, was it last night that was a joint board meeting? And I saw it come up on Facebook. I'm like, oh, I don't really want to watch this whole thing. But I'm sure that there's a lot, I know, I shouldn't say that. But there's a lot of things that probably happen that, especially for kind of what we do here, we should be aware of, because we do try to get the word out. We do try to the public as much as we can, and the more that communication can be put in different forms, different venues, like if people don't want to watch the meeting, they can just get the highlights of the meeting, then I think it's important. I think it's important for everybody to really start taking ownership of what's happening in town and village.
Yes, and southern Vermont. Mm-hmm. I mean, because our representatives are really important too. They're going, I mean, if you think about Kelly coming on and talking about how many millions of dollars did they...
COVID funding, yeah. And making sure that it comes south of Montpelier.
Yes, that's one of our main goals.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again for coming on.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
Have a good 4th of July.
Okay, you too.
Are you going out to celebrate Canada Day?
I'm going to be staying right at home.
All right. See you later.
See you, Deb.
All right. I'll see ya.
Good. Well, that was Deb Fox, and she ran for a select board seat, and she was fantastic. I'm glad that she came on, and wow, that was really good.
Yeah, a lot of good information, a lot of things to help us be better prepared in the next election to make sure that the votes go where people thought they were going.
Yeah.
And
Or
I think
that,
that's,
and that
yeah.
they count.
Yeah.
That's really, 36 votes that may not have counted is a lot of votes.
Especially when in a close race, that it was a pretty
Yeah,
close race, yeah.
Wow.
So we have a special ending for the show today.
We do have a special ending for the show today. We want to say congratulations to the class of 2020. They
Once
were
again.
fantastic. They were a class that was, I don't know, they had an amazing graduation, really.
They did.
I have to say that had my doubts when everything was going on, and it was whether they're going to get to do it or not get to do it. But it was really nice that they did get to do it, and I was really pleased that it happened.
And the town parade and, all the things that maybe will go into being new traditions. And now they have their own song.
And now they have their own song because
Floyd Lawrence.
Our Floyd Lawrence was inspired by the all of the things that happened on that night, and he wrote a song and put it to video.
Yep.
And we're gonna go to that video, I believe, now.
Yes.
We are the class of 2020. We've been dealt a hand, but together we will stand. We will all have to join the fight. Now we are prepared, and the future that we share as a team will make it right. We're here to deal with it, and you will never forget. We are the class of 2020. 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 Our plan of the day is to fix the mess that's made, going to make the wrongs alright. Standing here as one, only choice to overcome. We will make our future bright. We've been dealt a pile of that, but you will never forget. We are the class of 2020. 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 No way, we say, oh no, let's go. You put the pomp in the circumstance and shake, shake, shake. You put the pomp in the circumstance and shake, shake, shake. You put the pomp in the circumstance and shake, shake, shake. You put the pomp in the circumstance and shake, shake, shake. You put the pomp in the circumstance and shake, shake, shake. You put the pomp in the circumstance and shake, 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 shake. You put the pomp in the circumstance and shake, shake, shake. You put the pomp in the circumstance and shake, shake, shake. We are the class of 2020. 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 We are the class of
So there you have it, class of
That's
2020.
2020.
You got your graduation, you got your townwide parade, and thanks to Floyd and Intercept, you have your own song. And shout out to Chrissy Lisai and Chris Ratner for providing some pictures for that video.
Okay, and that's it for this week. We'll see you next week on the feed.
Bye, community.
Bye.